With the season having just begun and the transfer window closing, some of your attentions will have now turned to the imminent new video games coming our way, with FIFA 18 and Football Manager 2018 set to hit stores in the very near future probably. So let's take a trip down memory lane and look at some of the Wonderkids from Football Manager 2009 and where they are now. First up we've got Ustari. The Argentinian goalkeeper was a top Football Manager stopper back in the day, and although you'd probably never seen either of them in between the sticks, it was all of us a tough choice as to who you'd sign in goal, Ustari or Mexico's Guillermo Ochoa. More often than not we'd go with the slightly younger Ustari, who was with Getafe when FM09 was released, before heading back to his homeland in 2012 to join Boca Juniors. In 2014 it looked like we were finally going to get the chance to see Ustari in the Premier League when he joined Sunderland on a short-term deal, but the Olympic gold medalist would just be limited to FA Cup appearances. After 6 months on Wearside, Ustari joined Newell's Old Boys and is now in Mexico with Atlas, playing alongside his new teammate Ravel Morrison. Couldn't make it up, could you? Up next we've got Mark Beevers. In 2017, Mark Beevers is a championship defender, having won promotion from League One last season with Bolton Wanderers. But in 2009, he was in elite class alongside the likes of Mats Hummels, Jerome Boateng and Johnny Evans as one of Football Manager's Wonderkids centre-halves. Whilst those three have gone on to win some of the most prestigious prizes in Europe, Beevers was named in the League One Team of the Season last year alongside partner David Wheater. So who's the real winner? The defender's career began at Sheffield Wednesday, and Beevers would have loan spells at MK Dons and Millwall before joining the latter permanently in 2013, then heading to Bolton last summer. Next up we've got Henri Saivet. The Senegal international epitomises Football Manager Wonderkid gone wrong. The midfielder could be found in everyone's FM team a few years back, but now he struggles to get on the Newcastle United bench. Saivet would spend more than a decade at Bordeaux, joining as a youth player back in the early 2000s, but was eventually prized away from the French club in January 2016 by Newcastle and Steve McLaren, who signed the 26-year-old for £5 million, with most young Newcastle fans buzzing with their latest acquisition due to their escapades on Football Manager with their new man. Unlike on the game, there was nothing wonderful about Saivet, and he was quickly loaned out to St Etienne following Newcastle's relegation. Saivet is now back at St James's Park and is one of few out-of-favour players who survived Rafael Benitez's summer exodus, so maybe we'll see him playing in the Premier League sometime soon. We've looked at some flops, so let's run through some players who Football Manager correctly predicted bright things for, such as Robert Lewandowski, Neymar, Arturo Vidal, Gareth Bale, Mesut Ozil and Oscar. Back to the flops though, and we've got Adel Taarabt. We all know the story of Adel Taarabt, very talented footballer who could do it all on his day, but those days were few and far between, and most of his time would be spent sulking or moving club. Well, unfortunately Football Manager didn't see that coming in 2009, rating him as one of their Wonderkids while the Moroccan was still with Tottenham. Spurs sharp saw that Taarabt was a bad egg and sent him off to QPR on loan and then permanently, with the midfielder scoring 19 goals in one championship season, where it looked like Taarabt was living up to the hype. Of course, promotion to the Premier League was as good as it got for him, and Taarabt has since played for Fulham, AC Milan when they weren't very good, Benfica, and he's now on loan at Genoa. Oh well, at least he's still got that Football League Player of the Year award to cling on to. Next up we've got Jose Baxter. Remember that famous England team that the Daily Mail put together in 2007 for the 2014 World Cup? Well, Jose Baxter was in it, back when he was a youngster with Everton. Football Manager also predicted the same fate for Baxter, listing him as one of their Wonderkids in the 2009 edition of the game, but how wrong they all were. With his career struggling to take off, Baxter was released by Everton in 2012, joining Oldham Athletic where he impressed, and the youngster would then join Sheffield United a year later, where after a bright start in the Steel City, it all started to go up in flames for Baxter. He was suspended by the club in May 2015 for failing a drugs test and later banned by the FA. In February the following year, Baxter was banned again by the club and released in the summer of 2016. Incredibly, Baxter is now back with Everton, having been offered a year's contract this summer following his ban, as the now 25-year-old looks to get his career going once again. And finally we've got Brek Shea. As the years go by, football in the United States, or soccer, is becoming less and less of a joke, but it was still a surprise back in 2009 to see an American by the name of Brek Shea listed as a Wonderkid, a teenager playing for FC Dallas. In January 2013, we got the chance to see if Shea lived up to the billing, joining Stoke for £2.5 million. Unfortunately though, game time would be limited for the American, who would have loan spells at both Barnsley and Birmingham. In December 2014, Shea returned to the States to play for the newly formed Orlando City, alongside Brazilian legend Kaká, where he'd end up having to play as left back most of the time. In February, Shea was on the move again, joining Vancouver Whitecaps in a swap deal that saw Giles Barnes go the other way, who was of course another failed Football Manager Wonderkid. For Christian Pulisic's sake, let's pray his Wonderkid status proves to be a lot more fruitful than Brek Shea's. So that's where some of Football Manager 2009's Wonderkids are now. Let us know what you think in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe.